Welcome back to the cosasverdes altcoin and crypto trading show. This is Tim. Today is Monday, October 11th, 2021. Let's check out Fantom, which is really popping hard. How high can it go? Solana and Terra Luna price action. New viewers, here's what my channel does for you. You're watching mostly project and news-based videos. I am that third dot in the triangle of information on YouTube that you need to be getting for crypto, specific to what the hell am I doing when am I clicking around with my money? And am I going to watch this go up forever? When do I sell? All those types of questions. I help you answer them here. And more importantly, I help you get more of those cryptos by using other people's money, which means you need to sell a little bit of those cryptos if you like those cryptos. If you like Solana, you sell some Solana, but you use other people's money to buy it back in greater quantities at a lower price. That's what I help you do. So if that sounds good to you, go ahead and check out the links to my private and exclusive community down in the description section. I give you exact examples so you can check out, hey, is this guy worth my time and my investment? I give you exact examples of the different tiers of information or types of information that is given to each tier on an individual basis, so you can see which one's right for you. So go ahead and check that out. And returning viewers, you know what to do. Hit that like button, give it a love tap, punch it in the face, flip it off, and make sure you at least click that like button. And also leave me a comment down below if it's just an emoji thumbs up, or if it's LOL, you suck, or if it's Cosa es muy feo, whatever you want to say. Help out the algo. It'll help me continue making videos for you, and let's get after it. So, question of the day right now is, how high can Fantom go? Well, actually, I can give you so new viewers, here's a really good, so what I'm about to do today with Fantom, and for everybody actually, you can do this with any coin when it's moving high. Don't forget what I'm about to show you. I am serious. This is really important, okay? I even made like 8 minutes of this video, then realized, whoa, I need to focus on this. So I deleted it, and I'm making this video with the specific intent of showing you something that you can use, particularly in very hot seasons when your altcoins start pumping. So this is an important video, okay? All right. And you can apply this. Don't just think of this as Fantom. It's just Fantom now. Fantom now, but I'm going to understand something greater. So if you're a Solana fan, you don't care about Fantom or whatever, no. Check this out. You're going to apply this to Fantom or to Solana pretty soon, or to Terra Luna soon, or whatever, whoever you are. Okay, so let's take a look at this. How high can this go? Well, when you want to ask that question, the easiest way to think about it is talking all about the tens. Okay, so when I talk about tens, we're talking about the EMA, the exponential moving average. If you don't know how to set up a chart like mine, even though I have a bear chart right now, to understand how to set up a trading view chart, and you don't need to be using KuCoins or some exchanges chart, go to my library video. Just stop this video now and come back to it, or duplicate the tab, make another tab, and go to my playlist called library, and look at the thumbnail that says how to set up a chart. All right. So how far does price get away from its tens? It's that simple. If you find yourself with the weekly 10 plus the daily 10 being both very high percentages away, or with price being high percentages away from both, then you're probably going to see a drop after that point. Let's say that price is close to the weekly 10 EMA, but made its first pop on the daily, but it did get too far from the daily. Well, it doesn't need to correct that long. It might only need like 2 days. But if you get far away from both at the same time, that's usually that's when you have a statistical understanding. Now's a good time to sell. And if you can mix that with the 4 hour as well, because sometimes you can be kind of high on both, right? Kind of high, but you don't get really high on the daily until the 4 hour 10 EMA price is riding, or on the 4 hour 21 EMA. And then it gets that last pop, which then makes this way too big of a distance away from your 10. That's actually the perfect time to sell. If you can mix it with 3 different time frames, check the box that, oh crap, it's too far from the 10s on all 3 at the same time. That's usually when you can get some of your best buys out of things. And you can also usually see some bearish divergence on the 4 hour chart, which I will do last on Fantom here before we move on to Terra or Solana. Okay, but remember, that's the general idea. Now let's go ahead and do this. So why am I on the 4 hour chart? I'm on the 4 hour chart. Well, I drew in. So see that line right there, that dotted line? That's the weekly 10. Zoom in See the non-dotted red line? That's the daily 10. I already drew it in, told you I already made a video and it said, ah, crap, this is going to be really important, so let's do this right. Okay, so not the last time, the penultimate time. So second to last time before Bitcoin, right around the time Bitcoin was breaking its previous market cycle high of 20K. That is when Fantom finally started trying to get above its weekly 10. So it came from so you see how the weekly 10 would have been going like this? It fell below it, came up and respected it for a hell of a long time. Not only respected it, but then went above it, came back below to like bow down farther, right? And popped above it again, came back down again for a second deep Japanese bow. Like a really respectful, like, oops, I'm sorry, I messed up type of bow, or whatever. A very deep, deep bow. Okay? Not bow movements. All right, and so let's take a look. How long was it respecting and bowing its butt off? 77 days, okay? That led to a lot of separate, like a big explosion above, but from its very, very top. Okay, so I'm going to go straight down. I'm going to make sure it aligns perfectly. The weekly 10 at that time, it went at 358% above. So if you ever see Fantom anywhere close to 300% above its weekly 10, yeah, you're going to be able to buy it. You're going to be able to market sell and then easily buy back a good 40% lower if you see that happening. All right. Is that what's happening right now? No, I don't think so. So let's test this again. So 350, it's huge. Okay. That's like on the extreme side of things. I wouldn't expect to see that number ever again, really, for it. So this is 350. So, okay, it happened twice. Now, both times were you able to buy back 50% lower? Well, let's see. That's 63. 68. You buy back way more than 50% lower if you see that much separation, but you usually don't get that high, right? That's like end of parabolic move stuff. Okay, so remember that for May or December or whatever things are really getting. If you can measure, draw in the weekly 10, then go to a smaller time frame, measure up. If it's close to 300, that's the time to be, starting to sell some of it at least, or a large chunk of it. 50 bag or whatever. 50 bag meaning get rid of 50% of that asset to use that then tether to buy back more and then use other people's money to get more crypto because people are selling and taking the price down. So they're the ones using their money essentially to lower the price for you and you just wait to scoop it on sale. So you're using other people's hitting market sell, right, and their money to get more crypto because now you buy back cheaper. Okay. So this is probably a more reasonable one though. So let's kind of measure from there. Let's measure right there. 80%. Okay. Let's measure another reasonable bounce from the top of that. 60%. Okay. If you were to sell somewhere up here, not even at the top, buy back 20% lower. That sounds good. When does that statistically start happening? Another 60% away. So usually what it's looking like here is when you see price more than 60% away, you can typically have a pretty statistically sound chance to buy back 15 to 20% lower if you do that. So it got over 60%. So let's just say 60 or 65, the average or whatever, right? So about 65 there. Would you have had a chance to buy back much lower? 10%. That's more crypto using other people's money. But historically, though, this is a small dip. So usually when you're able to do that, you will be able to buy it back even lower. So this is just a pretty profound move right now. And it's still chugging away along. So if it keeps racing up and the trajectory of this keeps going up and it comes up to here, which I would suspect it's going to hit that line, my origin line there, that's 80%. And then you're very, very likely going to be able to buy back about 20% lower, and it's probably going to return to this range. So that's what I see happen. I see this line being hit. Actually had a couple chances to buy and sell because the percentage was too big, although the real target is this line here for now, the real midterm target, but you got over 65% away from the weekly 10, had to return. You would have had a good chance to buy or to sell, buy back, not sell all, I'm not saying all, 10, 15% of your bags with the expectation, hey, I can buy it back 10% lower now. Now I have more crypto using other people's money, but you're going to get that second chance. So I think Fantom is going to hit this origin line that I have drawn out. And let's highlight which origin line we're talking about. That one right there. So you can see that this origin line served as a lot of support and then resistance for a little while. So it's probably going to be a pretty big line to hit here. And you can see that it was the resistance for this, and it was the middle like point of control for all this price action. So this is a pretty big horizontal. Price is probably going to race right up to it, and it brings us within that magic time, or not time frame, but that percentage away from the weekly 10. Okay, now let's try this from the daily 10. Okay, but more recent price history. Let's go down to the 1 hour chart. So if you're a real crackhead who wants to trade a lot, well, how often do you get these tiny moves? Well, 40% away. Then you had a 20% down move. %30 away. Followed by, zoom in a little bit better. So I'm on the 1 hour chart, but we are looking at essentially the daily chart too. You're just looking at the chaos of the daily times by 24. So this is a times 24 microscope on the daily because this line is still here. So I'm considering this a daily chart, right? You can just see the cells within it when you usually can't see cells on the flake of skin or whatever. So just consider this the daily chart with seeing the cells. So let's, what did I say? I already did this one. Let's go there. 30%, followed by a 20% move down. This one looks bigger than 30%. 50%, followed by 20% move down. So had you just decided, hey, at 35% I'm selling, well, shit, you still would have sold there and could have bought back, still 12% lower, getting more crypto with other people's money. So you don't care about selling the tops, right? You just want to think of averages and do I have, so, okay. So I said this in a previous video of today, altcoin video. This is really important for like fans of these three coins. Listen, this is a second really important thing. And I'm going to try to say this over and over and over, similar to the last altcoin season. I was screaming and yelling at people about selling. I'm close to getting in that same groove because it's the most important thing you can hear. I'm probably going to start repeating this. But you need to be looking for opportunities to sell, right? Okay, obviously. But here's the obstacle. Stop caring about selling a top. That's what makes it hard. I'm telling you, because your brain just says, oh, no, I don't want to sell the top, right? Here's how you stop that. And you take more money home by using other people's money. You get more crypto with other people's money, not by thinking of that. All you want to think about is one line in your head. And you ask this question. If I sell at this line, do I have a good chance of being able to buy back lower within a few weeks? That is it. Who cares about the tops? Because if you're waiting for a top, you're going to miss it, and then you never sold, and then what? Then you're stuck with the same amount of crypto, and you don't get more crypto. And you don't get to use other people's money to do it. It's more fun. So stop thinking about a top. Think about a line. Just define as, does it have a good chance of coming back below the line or not? Right? So what we're doing is we're seeing how far up the line should be. We don't care if it passes it. We just know that if it gets past this line, it's probably going to come back below. And that's it. So whether you like to sell things on like a weekly or a monthly or just 2 to 3 times a bull run, which is particularly how I do things in altcoins. I typically only sell one altcoin 2 to 3 times. I try. It's hard to day trade on altcoins because their moves all happen at once. They take a long time to happen. But depending on how much you want to trade, you can use this method, the distance from the 10. If you want to sell something every day, if it ever gets super far from the 15-minute 10 EMA, sell. And you'll probably be able to buy back. Now the percentage deeper is much lower. You might be looking at like 5%. But if you need to be clicking, you can use the same concept on any 10. It doesn't matter. It's just the less you wait, the less the rewards are. That's it. And the faster you have to act. Therefore, faster you have to act, the less chance it has to move, right? But you can be a crackhead trading 15-minute if you want. If you ever see it get way above the 15-minute, well, shit, you can sell. With that super high confidence, you can buy back at least a couple percent lower, if not 5. And then you get more crypto with other people's money, all right? So you don't have to do this on the daily. If you need to crackhead just practice buying and selling with like $100 of this stuff, then do it. Who cares? Don't worry about being rich off of it. Just worry about practicing for the big game, right? Okay, so you had another pop, 40%. So we're seeing a lot of like mid-30s. Yeah, mid-30s before it comes back down. This one looks like it's like 45 or, ooh, 60. And, 60 followed by how big of a dip? A 30. So see, bigger pump, bigger dip. Therefore, had you sold around 35% up, okay? So mark it right there. You still could have followed the rule. I can buy back 10% lower. Look, went 16% lower. So again, it's just the line. If you measure a bunch of 35s, then you sell at 35. Or you can sell like 1% at 35, 1% at 36, 1, like 10% up and stagger it, right? Not all those get filled all the time because you didn't, in this case, it actually would have. You don't sell at one spot, right? And if you want to check out strategic ways to sell, I have a 10-bag video in my library portfolio. You don't just sell at one point, okay? Just go check it out. I even give you, like, with train drawings, very simple Lego looking stuff, pictures on just 4 different methods and how to use each one so you can get more crypto using other people's money. All right, so a lot of these are in the 30s. Okay, so now that we're in this uptrend from the daily, $39.40. Did you get your 10% drop? I bet you did. I bet it's like 15. 20. What happens? Tim, but you said it's in the mid-30s, so let's give it 35% up. All right, 35% up. Marker line. Could we have bought back 10% lower? 14% lower. And once again, who cares about the tops? Pick a line. Make sure it's a good line. And what is a good line? A line where if price goes above, you can buy only after it goes above. So that's why you really shouldn't care about tops. You should depend on tops that you don't sell because you need it to get above. Because you don't want to sell a top. Because if you wanted to sell $10,000 right here, a Phantom, you couldn't have done it. Not all of you. Like maybe you would have. That would have been one of those cases. Well, hey, I had my order exactly right there, and it only sold the first $1,000 worth of it. Yeah, because that's the height. It didn't go higher because there was more. You were selling more than people were willing to buy. That's why it stopped. So that's why, that's another reason. You actually don't want to put a sell order at the top because your order, if it's anywhere bigger than $20 or $1,000 or whatever, it's not going to get filled. Right now, if you're playing around with $100, okay, it could get filled. But I bet there wasn't much, money filled there at all, right? So that's another reason why tops are stupid. You won't get filled on them anyway, if you're dealing with any reasonable sort of money. So you want to sell before a top, and the top needs to go past your line, right? Okay, so pick a line. Did it have a good statistical chance of coming back more than 10% lower than a reasonable time frame? Absolutely. So let's try this again. Honestly, I think this one's going to hit like 45% above because I think it's going to hit that line. 42% above. So I'm expecting, if I could project the daily 10 out to keep going like this, I think it's going to get about a 40. I bet it goes 40% above. So I'm going to put a sell box right there. And this, what's about ready to happen, you're hitting an origin line and you're meeting, not the weekly 10. So the weekly 10 is still kind of good. So we already looked at the distance from the weekly. It's not getting that aggressive. See, it's not 300%, it's not 200%, but it's in the middle, right? So it's getting kind of hot. So I would say just a small up arrow here. On the daily, you're getting a big up arrow, right? And so therefore, and you have an origin line here. And so when you have an okay weak looking sell signal, a good daily sell signal, and an origin line sell signal, that's typically, when doing much greater than a 10 bag, is typically a winning strategy. So what I'm saying specifically right here, right now, without giving any financial advice, Pokemon cards that say FTM on them. If you have 100 Pokemon cards and you sell half of them here, okay, look, now you have 50 cards that you're storing for you, and you sold 50 cards. Okay? These 50 cards turn into Tether or a stable coin or whatever, right? I would probably sell them into a stable coin if I could. Then you wait until it probably comes down 20%, but once they sell and you see it turned into Tether, those Pokemon cards, once it turns into Tether, do not wait. Just immediately stick with the plan and measure down wherever it went from the top, not from where you sold. Actually, no, from where you sold. Measure down 20%. Because I'm telling you, if you sell around this box 50% of your fan of Pokemon cards, you're going to be able to buy back 20% lower with a strong probability. Like, this is a really good, this is a really good sell signal. I'm telling you. Now, will it work out perfectly? I really don't know. But that doesn't matter. All you care about is the statistical likelihood. So you can see that I built up the statistical case on a weekly and a daily basis. All the times that it goes around about 40% above, it's every single time was a good time to buy back, right? It was a good line. It was a good line to where you could buy back lower every time that we did it. Every time, right? So, and actually there might be one exception during the parabolic move though. If I went way back here, I bet there was okay. I bet there's time during this move. There's an exception. But we're not looking for the last parabolic move, are we? Okay, and we're not looking for that. And parabolic moves, that's when you deal with the other 50% and look to exit something a little bit more. So that's why you reserve 50%, just in case, right? But it's not parabolic cycle phase, really, so you should, Anyway, this is honestly what's approaching. It's a good 50 bag opportunity. And if you go to that my library playlist and look for the one that says 10 bag video, library 10 bag, I would do something like a middle heavy diamond distribution of limit sells. Seriously, if you just now, if you're not comfortable selling 50% of your Pokemon cards that say Phantom on them, whatever you're comfortable with, do that and do a little bit more. You have this is a really good trade setup. I'm telling you, this is an excellent trade setup. And I'm saying this a few times because the likelihood of me having to eat my words is pretty low. Is really low. And it's possible I'm missing some big news. I mean, but yeah, you're going to be able to buy back 20% lower. Okay, so that is my suggestion, and that's how I came to it, using the weekly, and the daily 10s, and just using an origin line. That simple, okay? But the thing is, you don't have to wait, and you don't have to see price hit this. You can literally just put in limit sales now. And I typically only give exact levels to my community, but I mean, somewhere between 275 to 295. Just do like 5 different limit orders between those two numbers, wait for them to hit, and then immediately put in buyback targets lower. 20% lower from where you sold on average. And you can thank me later. All right, so that's what we got for there. But you can use this for any asset. It's just I focus so much time on Fantom because the other two assets we're going to look at here now are going sideways and down, or sideways consolidating. It's less sexy, right? But they're time for this to come. And we could even backtest Solana, really. So, let's just go to Solana. Just try this super fast here. Solana went on a nasty tear. My God, that's gross. But it still followed averages. I'm telling you, still followed it. Watch. Let's do this as fast as we can. So since there's nothing sexy going on with Solana right now, as I predicted, told you it's got to go sideways a lot, folks. And again, a lot of the people who are in my community, you could be somebody who thumbs down me, on one of these videos because you didn't like me saying, hey, Solana's not ready. I get it. But I'm telling you, a lot of the people who are my most loyal followers and like patrons and all that stuff, they were the thumbs down people. Hell no, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about too. I totally get it. I prefer those people because I love to argue with people more than I like to agree. So if you're like me, then hell, join the club. Let's get it. You just got to wait to see that I'm right. All right. Especially if you're a little newer, it's just some of this stuff's really shocking, right? Okay. So, all right. So we did that. Did I map it out far enough? Yeah, here we go. All right. So it still followed some rule. Watch. Daily 10. Ready? Let's go to the 4-hour chart. So we can see the cells within the daily. All right, watch. You want a day trade or get about 2 trades a week on a coin? Watch. Super simple. 12% above the daily. Just start measuring. 20%. 15%. 15%. 15%. Now, how much of a turn did you have down? 10%. So each of those 15% distances away from the 10, it would have offered you a lot of chances to sell some Solana and buy it back a little cheaper. Not hugely cheaper, because the more you trade, the less the reward per that trade, right? That's just the way it is. Okay, so in order for really big trades, you got to have a lot of patience. I'm talking like your time frame in a year, you need to be looking for 4 of those, maybe less, 2 to 4 of those per asset per year. That's why I diversify, because those 4 times in a year or 2 times in a year happen at different times for different assets, right? But if you want to day trade, you have to be happy with buying back like 5% lower, right? You have to have different time frame expectations for your different time frames. And if you're just somebody who has to click around and do stuff, okay, do that on the daily scale with statistical analysis, kind of like I'm doing here, but just make sure that your expectations are mediocre in terms of how much lower you can buy back. How much lower you can buy back. All right, now, had you sold here, you wouldn't have had an opportunity with 10% of your bag, 10 bagging, to buy back lower, right? Had you sold at, what did I say, like 20, 15%? So this was your big pop. Sometimes you miss them, and you just get it back there. Or put in another asset that's going to fly, and it was only 10% of it. Wait, try to catch another asset that's getting ready to fly. You can't, you do lose some of them, but there's always another trade, especially if one asset is moving up like this. Well, then another asset's sitting here chilling, waiting to do the same thing. You just move that 10 bag over, wait till it pops, and then move it back into Solana. And usually the pop will be bigger than Solana's continuation pop, all right? So now, let's see, after this pop, how far did it get? Got 50. So it went from a bunch of bounces, a 15%, to your 50% bounce. All right, or pop. However, then it went down to 38%, 20%, 15%, back to its average. This is actually a pretty wild ride, folks. This is not very regular. 25%, 40%. This one's actually, this just went up and away. This would have been pretty difficult to trade, I'm not gonna lie. This was okay. So something was happening here. So I can tell this is very chaotic price. Like this is a mixture of YouTubeness, and now I don't know. Like there was something big happening with Solana here, right? So this is not very typical. It is harder to trade, and this is one of the reasons why I say 10 bag and 20 bag, because when you have this crap happen, and it would have been better just to hodl, right? Well, at least you were only dealing with 10 to 20% of your portfolio trying to get more crypto with other people's money, and the vast majority of your bags are hodl. It's a hybrid system, right? It's better than buying and praying, I'm telling you. Because that 20%, you're practicing buying and selling, and when you practice something, what happens? You get better at it. So when it's time to sell this stuff, do you want to be better at it or worse at it? When it's time to actually cash out and have a good understanding, you want to be better at it. That's why you practice with your 20 bags. I'm telling you, even sometimes, you know, you sell a little too low and it never comes back down. Who cares? In the end, you're going to be better off because you're practicing for the big game. You're practicing for this portion because you'll never see money if you don't sell. Ever. You don't just, are you just going to sit there with your Solana your whole life and say, hey, I have $1 million this month and then never buy anything with it? No. Why would you do that? So practice selling, right? So honestly, this one was a pretty hard one to sell during that run. It was way chaotic. Very difficult to sell that. All right, so let's see the distance away here. 12% with a 5% dip. 15%, and then you would have caught a bigger dip, but 33% down from that. All right, so in the end, it is harder to like weekly trade. To make a couple clicks a week on this asset, it hasn't been that easy. I'm not going to lie. So in that case, I would probably on Solana refer to the weekly. This is a really hard asset to trade. So the weekly is anytime you see Solana really respecting and getting close to the weekly 10, and it's not like in some crash phase, whenever, just do reverse. If it's within 15% of the weekly 10, it's a good time to pick up more. And it's probably at a low point. So how far away is it from its weekly 10 now? 16%. So it's probably at a decent low point, even though I was thinking it was going to wick below its 10 once, and I still think it could happen. I have this line here for a reason. And this is what could convert a lot of Solana fans into, you know, people who watch me regularly who disliked me at first. Because I said, I think it's going to get a 50% correction. I still think it's going to get a 50% correction with a decent probability, but it might not happen because the market's getting hot. But I don't know. I would love to see a wick down here. But anyway, you can essentially use the reverse of what I was saying in order to figure out, okay, when are things low, right? In order to pick some stuff back up. So if you're not somebody who needs to click around with your money all the time on Solana, which honestly, Solana looks pretty hard to trade. So I would, so if I were doing any big sells of Solana trying to get out, I mean, I would just keep watching my channel and my Solana updates, and I'll tell you if it's too hot today and do you have a good line on a daily point to be able to buy back 10, 15% lower or whatever. Let's take a look at the monthly. How's this monthly going to close? Got 20 days left. The weekly 10 was down here. Within 20 days, Solana could come all the way back down here, come up, and still close green. All within a month. I think this is going to be a small month. Whether it's green or red, it doesn't matter. I think the month of October for Solana will be a candle smaller than this one on a closure basis. So that means you might have a little bit of downside, might have a little bit of upside, but in the end, at the end of the month specifically, the closure should be somewhere around here. And then that would set it up for a nice move up. But still, I still have this downside target. That's all I got for you for Solana. So let's move on to Luna. All right, Luna, just as I expected, is moving in this channel. So it's not a horizontal. Okay, so its range right now is just a horizontal, but just flip up, like turn it like this, you know, like, 25 degrees, just tilt it, right? So take this same line and tilt it up, and you're just dealing with a range like that. That's all that's happening. Really. I mean, this price action is that simple. And so because on horizontals, you get your major breakouts when you break the top line, its horizontal is tilted. Your breakout will happen above this line, not above something like this. Do you see that? So the analysis on Luna is kind of cool, where you're dealing with a tilted, it's just tilted right now. Like the earth is tilted. We live on it. We're doing just fine, right? Or hopefully you're doing just fine. Are you having a bad day? Hopefully you're not. But so anyway, whenever you see Luna come down below here, that's going to be a good buy. Whenever Luna comes up and gets close to here, guess what? That's a good 10 bag opportunity to do what? sell 10% of Pokemon Luna cards and plan to buy back 10 to 15% lower with using other people's money because they're the ones selling. They give you the discount. Now you have more crypto with the same amount of money, which means it's from other people's money, right? That's simple. So if you want to see how I drew this line, so in its last pop, you have a major area of resistance, and then it came down and hit it twice to support, and that's the big breakage point. So just draw a line there. That's the same line. When it hits that line, just keep selling it until it breaks out. One of those times it'll break out, and you'll have to wait to buy back lower, or if not lower, but you just do it until it doesn't work. That's simple. So practice selling. Even if it's only 3% of your Pokemon cards. If you have 100 Luna Pokemon cards, just try 3 of them. And you don't even have to be watching it, right? Like I keep saying, you can just guess. Okay, well, if it's coming down here, bouncy, 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 when might it hit up here? Somewhere over here. So I would put my limit sells for somewhere between around 57.20 and a little lower, down to 54. And if I were to sell 1 Luna, or what are these worth? Yeah, 1 Luna at 54, 1 at 55, 1 at 56, 1 at 57, and 1 at 57.50, the chance that I can take then the tether that I hold and buy back on average 10% lower is going to be huge. It's a big, big, big percentage. All right, let's see if there are any other tools out here that says, actually, you know what, Tim, it might break up. Ugh, I bet it doesn't even hit that line one more time for a while. It could. The weekly's saying it's going to take a while. This week needs the wick below. It might be 2 weeks till it hits that. So I would actually, I would go to October 25th to put my box. So let's go back on. I would put my box here. So I would actually be selling closer to $61 and just under. So 61. So 1 Luna at 61, 1 at 60, 1 at 59, 1 at 58. And you could just sell 3 or 4 different Luna at those levels. And that's your line. Who cares if it's the top? Who cares if it breaks out? You have a strong likelihood, statistically, right, to buy back below that line because it is a good line. That is it. And don't just sell like at one level. You want to split it up, right? And when you do split it up, again, you're doing that because you don't care about the top. You don't care if the top goes above. You don't care if the top comes here. And if the top does come here, that means, well, you didn't sell this Luna. You just have less tether to buy back, but at least you did technically sell the top, right? Because it only went up like half of your ladder, right? So yeah, I would say, and so here's one of the things, like I said with, what was it, Fantom, a 50 bag opportunity. This is a classic 10 to 20 bag opportunity. And here's why, not a 50, because this is looking like it's in a range that it could break out this next dry. So because of its nice posturing, you're running the chance that it could go up and away, and then you actually don't get a buyback lower. So I would keep my percentages small with this one, but I would try it until it didn't work with a small percentage. Just every time it hits this line, 10%, 10%, 10%, until it doesn't work, kablam. That's simple. Let's take a look at, yeah, it's really respecting its 4 hour, or just the basic rule, whatever. So take on the 4 hour chart, put on the 4 hour chart, take off all EMAs besides 200. The 200 is the bottom of this. So if it's under the 200, guess what? It's a good time to sell. I mean, to buy. Because you sold at this origin line, kind of like I've been saying for a couple weeks now. That it's going to stay between this, between these lines for a while, right? And it's going to wiggle up until it breaks out. So let's see here. I could see it coming all the way down to 32. Yeah, I wouldn't be scared about 32. Even 30. I could see a scare down on Luna down to $30, but that's still in order. That's a nice little wick below here. Everything would be fine, and it would probably come right back into the range and give you opportunity to 10 to 20 bag around October 25th. And that's what I'm seeing in the short term for Luna. Let's go to the monthly, make sure I'm not missing anything. what did I say? I think this will be a smaller candle. I think this will be a smaller monthly close too. No matter which way it goes, like it looks like it's heading down first or just keeps going sideways. I think this is going to be a small month. Then and honestly, it looks like November is going to be your big month. So I would say the breakout above that origin line is going to be in November. I don't know what day in November, but it looks like November, and it's going to head towards this line closer to, I mean, shit. Honestly, in November, this could hit $105 or slightly higher because it would be closer to this area. So between these two lines, but closer to the left one, obviously. Let's go to the 4-hour chart. Let's see how high that might go. So between those two lines, so it could wick up mid-month. Yeah, this honestly, after it hits the bottom of here, I could see the next sell box being around 110 to 114 bucks. How about we just do that now? Let's see how well my sell boxes do. Ready? All right. And again, timing is the hard part. So give me a break on the timing, but the levels. So sell box number 1. Let's just put 58 to 62. And this is what I do for my Patreon community. I walk them through very specific things, but on a lot more coins and on leverage plays and all that kind of stuff. So if you like what you're seeing here, like come join the community. It's pretty, we're doing a pretty good job over there. Although a lot of people are getting impatient right now, and I gotta reel everybody back. Settle your expectations. Bitcoin has not closed a week above 60K, so most, a lot of things aren't going to be moving. Not everything is Fantom. And then your second sell box, what did I say? Around early November. I think you're going to have wow, so that means it's going to move up. It's going to do this, come down, and then it's going to get its big move. All right, I think this is actually how it's going to move, folks. It's going to come up, race up here at the beginning of the next month, I think. So I would put a second sell box. And again, I'm saying that based off the monthly closure, where these months, will go, right? And so mid-month of November, it could actually come up here, but you're going to get a big correction, and the month could actually close up here, but it doesn't matter. Within the monthly closure, I could see that happening. It's just all about the closures. And trading is what you do between closures. All right, so I would say sell box number 2. Let's make it pink. Okay, so in terms of being realistic with my sell boxes, here's one thing you have to keep in mind. Sometimes I move them sideways because of timing, right? But when I'm dealing with origin boxes, sell boxes on origin lines, when I move them sideways, I'm actually sliding them up. Okay, so what that means in terms of clicking around with your money, which is hopefully what my channel is trying to teach you to do, Pokemon cards only, never financial advice, not a financial advisor, is, what that means for clicking around is if I have to move this over, right? Because this stayed down here a little longer and I move it over a little bit, you go and you cancel the orders that you had made and you bump them up. That's what it means physically clicking. It's not a big deal. And that's why I always like 5 sell orders, so it doesn't take that long. Now I have, when I'm trying to get that one big sell, or, in a year's time, you have 2 really big moments to sell altcoins typically. That's when I'll do like 100 different limit orders, and then I have to lock them in place because that's too much work. But since we're not in that phase of the cycle right now, I like to stick with 5 because I often move them up. I move my sell box, right? But in a sell box, that just means you have to delete the 5 orders and then put 5 more orders in. And hopefully you're using it in a box on TradingView and then clicking the numbers into there. So these are my 2 sell boxes, but with respect of how this goes, I might slide these to the right or slide them to the left, whatever, Simon says, all that type of stuff. We might do some Simon says, so be reasonable with your expectations.
But you earlier said 58 to 62, and now you moved it up from 67 to 72.
Yeah, because I slid it. So I have that one expectation, I might slide. Slide to the left, slide to the right. That's the one base expectation I have for you, but I'm trying to show you how to, take action with clicking around so you can use other people's money to get more crypto. This is how you do it. This is how you think about it, right? Who cares about tops? Think about a line, think about a box, keep to the plan. Because if you're not doing so I am kind of getting in the mood of trying to yell at people like you need to practice selling. You don't want to watch your money go all the way down because you're waiting for a top. Right? Is the line good? Is the box good? That's all you need to be thinking about. And I'm going to be pounding this into all y'all's heads as we keep moving along, because I know most of you aren't going to do it. And I don't want you to come back in 3-4 years saying, man, I wish I would have listened to that dude. Because, from February, there are a lot of people in March, a lot of people, some of my most loyal patrons, though, like, honestly, they're those people. I'm serious. About half of them are. They're those people. And speaking about human psychology, like listening and just like trusting somebody and doing what somebody else says, I am bad at doing that, which actually surprises me. That's why I said half. There is a huge chunk of people who just like take the advice and do it. And they're like, shit, that worked. They had no idea how to do it, but I just did what he said and it worked. Right. And so that is another, I guess, realm of my, or another big chunk of my patrons. Now, most of my patrons know during Bitcoin, this crap, I traded this wrong. I wanted a relief rally, a short one like this. I thought it was happening earlier and it messed up. And so since I expected it, roughly early, halfway through, like before the halfway point, it messed up my whole play down here. I'm not going to lie. I traded this wrong, totally wrong. Because of that base expectation, because that's the way Bitcoin has always moved. And it was Wyckoff stuff. It was because other players, something I didn't know, regardless of who called this a Wyckoff pattern or not, that's not actually what I'm talking about. It's just the trading becomes different down here. And I made the macro mistake in retrospect of saying, okay, if this has happened 15 out of 15 times in Bitcoin's past, that means damn, it's probably going to happen again, right? So during that time, I realized, wait, that actually means it started giving better indicators that it wouldn't happen, because the psychology of buying and selling was not mass psychology anymore. And it made it very clear, and I totally screwed it up. So I don't get everything right. I want to be very clear. I'm not some YouTuber who says, ooh, just like in my last video where I said, oh, exactly what we're looking for. No, shit happens. I mess up sometimes, but in the statistical probability of shorter time frames, and now that the market is moving a little bit more mass psychology, you need one thing I can say for certain: when things are up and moving like this is the time to practice selling. You need to practice selling. That's kind of my main point. So while some people do just say, hey, I'm going to do what he does, and sometimes that works really well, like throughout here worked okay, especially during February and March, it worked out okay, and sometimes it doesn't work out perfectly, which is also why I recommend people play around with 10 to 20% of their bags, right? Of one single bag, 20% of your Solana, or 10% of your Fantom, 10% of your whatever, Luna, right? So you're safeguarding 80% of what you hold from what somebody else is saying, or just ideas from somebody else. Okay, man, Bitcoin is really racing up, folks. All right, well, hey, that's all I got for you. So this is a weirder one today, but these are the three assets, even though they're not drawing a bigger, relatively big crowd for me or anything like now, but I think these viewers of these videos are more people who aren't like patrons and all that stuff. And I want to just let you know, practice selling, practice selling, practice selling. Is it a good box? Is it a good line? Forget about the top, practice it. Hear the ka-ching, have your sound on, have your headphones on, hear the sound. You want to have it feel good when you sell, and you need to practice it. Just make sure you have a good line or a good box, and that's it. That's all you need. And then you're probably going to be able to buy back lower. You're going to have more crypto, and you're going to convert yourself from a buyer and prayer to a profit pimp. This is how you do it. Who cares about perfection? Profitability over time, not perfect trading every time. Profitability over time, not perfect trading every time. Perfect trading every time, that's what's stopping you from selling. That's what's stopping you from having more crypto. That's what's stopping you from not using other people's money to gain your wealth. With doing this like 2 hours a week. And watch my dumbass make some videos. All right. Hey, y'all just got typified. Smash like before you go. Leave me a quick comment. Let me know what you thought. Do you like getting yelled at? Because this is almost yelling season. Let's get going. You just got typified.